All right, we're going to do something different. I want to know if you were any animal. You know how people say that they have a spirit animal, which really means if I were an animal, I would be this?
Okay, yeah, okay. I do.
All right, so if you could be any animal, Gary, if there was an animal that you would say embodies you, what would you pick?
Embodies me or that I'd want to be?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, giraffes got long necks. Elephants.
You've never had like that
forget.
animal that you... Fair. That's kind. You are kind of like an elephant. You don't really forget too much.
I'd say a monkey.
Okay, well,
I'd say a monkey.
Too much work with that. All right.
Well, yeah,
why would you say a monkey?
Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know, because I'd like to grab things with my feet, I think.
Yeah, you would. Just more skills. Just add to the skill set.
Add to the skill set.
I mean, I will say, full disclosure, when you're asked in kindergarten what you want to be when you grow up, I said a dog.
Okay.
Because I feel like as long as they live in a nice household, like dogs have it made.
Right.
They figured it out.
They do, don't they?
They absolutely
do. There's no stress.
Do. What do they? Their life is great.
That's right. You
and
get
more
fed.
and more households let them sleep in bed with them.
Yeah.
I'm
you
just
wag
saying,
your tail.
right?
Yeah. It's. You're right. I mean, I can see that.
That's what you'd want is to have a tail.
I don't know now. No, but now I'm thinking. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna have to think that through. I mean, the monkey was the first thing that came to mind, so I'll stick with the monkey.
Okay, fine. The reason I bring up animals is not because I actually care what kind of animal you want.
I didn't think you did.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
The reason I bring it up is because in my friendship with Gary over the years, I have learned that he has a lot of animal phrases in law enforcement. And I had to kind of understand what that was about. And now I get it. And I think it relates back to something that is probably the biggest news story in America right now, which was the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah, that's taken over the news cycle around the country, frankly, around the world. So, yeah, it's good that we kind of bring that in, and it allows us a chance to talk about various animals and how we relate it to stuff.
I have to bring a little bit of lightness because, I mean, granted, if you've watched any news outlet, this is all they've talked about all week, and understandably so, right? I mean, you've got, whether you politically align with them or don't, you've got the president, vice president, you've got the administration. There's so many people in that room. I don't know how many people were attending. It doesn't matter. It looks like a lot. It's a full room of people. But can I say, Gary, what stood out to me, and maybe this is because I have you as a friend, what stood out to me was the lack of reaction.
Yeah.
And no one's talking about that.
No, I know.
No one's talking about it.
They're talking high-level conversations about
how did the Secret Service respond?
How did he get in?
And oh my gosh, are we really going after Trump and all that?
Safe?
But this is what stood out to me, and I have to. Can I pull up a clip?
No, I want you to.
Mad at me? Okay. So, all right. So this is from C-SPAN. And don't worry, if you go back, if you're listening on the radio right now, you can go and watch our podcast, which we post to our YouTube channel. And it'll show this video so you can see it. But this is a clip from C-SPAN. It starts off where President Trump and the First Lady are kind of being briefed right now, and then you hear the gunshots go off, and you have to look at the audience. Like, that is where my eye went first. Okay, so I mean, even he's not reacting.
I know.
At first, like, the president's like, what?
And the guy comes behind him, so they know. Somebody knows because they're reacting to it.
But look how slow. Look at all these people in the audience.
Right.
They're just looking around.
Yeah.
Even stay down, and it's like, but no one's getting down.
I know. And
I mean, this is what, like, okay, we don't have to play it again, but that had to have been easily 20, 30 seconds where it's just kind of like, what? Where are we right now?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And even when the president travels with a response team, so we could see the SWAT team come in. Even when that happens, people are still not reacting to it. I mean, these people are all geared up with rifles, and they're still not reacting to it.
Right. So you call that what do you call that? Response?
Well, no. So we'll get to the response, but it's really a denial of an incident happening.
Okay.
To begin with, the animals will come into the conversation, but what we see here is, which is amazing because people cover it, and we talk about it a lot, that reporters and media people and police officers respond to the same stuff, so they know kind of a lot of the same things.
Right.
But now when you have them all in the room, even they show us that the human brain always tries to make things normal. And it's hard to react in a crisis.
But what is that called?
Well, it's a normalcy bias. So our brains will always try to make things normal. So you can see people are looking around. Even the First Lady goes, "What was that?" But they're not reacting to it because our brains are wanting to make it normal. That's how we survive. It's like, this is normal. I'm not really in danger. And then the other thing that we talked about, in fact, we talked about it before, this concept of social proof.
Social proof, yes. Okay. But You're making me mad, though. So you're not going to bring up the squirrel dance? I thought that's literally what you called that.
Well, here's what we call that. What's going to happen now is the people, you're so funny, you're right. It's the squirrel dance, and we've seen it. And here's the best example of it. If you're driving down the road and you see a squirrel in the middle of the road, you don't want to hit him. Obviously.
Right, of course.
But the squirrel does the road dance.
Right, where it's
the
like,
squirrel dance.
Which way am I going to go?
Right,
do I just sit here?
I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left. Because they don't know. And they're left in this quandary because they don't know what to do. I'm all of a sudden being about to be squished by a car or a tire. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left, I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left. That's what they're going to do. Because
so is
once
that
they realize
what's happening in that room?
Once they realize it, you'll start to see people, some fold, some get up, some walk around, some look around. They don't know what to do. So they're doing the squirrel dance
what
at
is
the table.
right answer?
Because they don't know. What they should be doing is if they had taken some time to say, if something happens, what should I do and where should I go? And then obviously they haven't done that. They're not prepared for that.
Okay. So to avoid squirrel dance, which is what kind of links back to sort of the phases your brain goes through in an emergency, like if you're in denial, your squirrel dance is going to look a little bit different because some people could just be like sitting and being like, whatever, this doesn't apply to me, you know, whatever. Then there are people who are followers, I would think, like, oh, okay, well, because Simon next to me got down, I'm going to get down.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then there are the people who might just be like, I'm going to get up because I'm supposed to get up. But this idea of, well, nothing's really happening, but how do I respond appropriately?
Yeah, and that's what it is. That once you realize you're in danger, we all do it. Unless you kind of thought it through.
Right.
You're all kind of in this mode of like, what should I do? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? And you are literally the squirrel in the middle of the road.
Wait, what is the example that because it's so true. What's the example you've used at the hotel? That's my favorite example of like the social, what is that called?
Social proof.
Social proof.
So if you have ever been in a hotel in middle of the night and the fire alarm goes off, what traditionally do we do? Most people do this. They get up, they walk to the door, and they open up the door. They stick their head out and they look to the left and then they look to the right. And then they close their door.
Right.
Because that's it. There's nothing going on.
Right.
I'm looking for what I should do and no one's doing anything, so I'm going to
go back to my room.
I'm going back to bed. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night.
Right.
I guarantee you, however, if you open up that door and it looks like the Titanic, where people have their bags and they're walking with their bags one by one, you will get your bags and do the same, and that's social proof. We look for what other people are doing sometimes to validate what we should be doing.
Wow.
And that's not what you really want to do.
Right.
Because if there was a bunch of squirrels in the road, some of them are going to go right, some are going to go left, you have to kind of walk through what would I do in that situation, and you be the person that doesn't look towards others, because we're all doing the same thing. This is how our brains work. We're all doing some sort of a squirrel dance unless we prepared for it. So, we don't want to always follow others. We want to make sure that we take the steps ahead of time to keep ourselves safe.
But I think you just mentioned something, Gary, that's so important. When you talk about denial, I think the reason that happens is because socially you're so out of the loop. So my sister, who I hope she doesn't get mad because I know she listens to this show, she told me that last weekend for her husband's birthday, she took him to New York City. They're in Grand Central Terminal. If you've not been to Grand Central Terminal, it's super busy. It's actually, people will literally travel to go to Grand Central because it's beautiful and it's incredible.
It is grand.
Right. It is.